So this is the Good Ride review of the Arbor Clovis. I rode it with Adidas Tactical ADV, Union Atlas. I've tried it with the Strata and played around on it for a few days now. Compared it against a bunch of different boards that that I feel are similar. You know, it's been a pretty good board. It's been fun. The old Clovis had a twin shape, a longer nose than a longer tail than nose, it felt like to me, and it just had a weird feel to it. It always felt like you were tail heavy and nose light, like you felt like you set it up wrong. Then the following year, I didn't try it, but they did setback inserts that made it work a lot better. Then this year, it was completely redesigned. It's now tapered directional instead of a true twin with different nose and tail, and it's got setback on board, tapered. It feels like a normal traditional freeride board, so that's good. So, you know, in terms of flex, you're looking at kind of a medium stiff-ish flex, maybe closer to medium, and it was somewhat easy to butter, and it had pretty good pop. I didn't notice like the lifted tech and when I was engaging on a pop. And you know, this camber profile they call system camber, which I would call like a version of hybrid camber. What it does is they just do these like fenders that kind of come up along this area here that kind of lift the catchiest points in camber. And in comparison to, you know, like, so this is still kind of mostly camber. You have the catch freeness of camber, but you have more fun turning in camber. You don't really have any extra added float, but you have that catch freeness of camber. And I thought it would be great to compare this against two really like fun free ride hybrid camber boards, the GNU Molaire and the you know, the Burton Flight Attendant, and they're like mostly camber too, but they're mostly camber in a much different way. You know, these guys here, you know, this is just camber with a touch of early rise, and this is camber with just a touch of early rise too. And the difference between this board and these boards was massive. This is so much more catch free. It's got a stable feeling where it doesn't feel like locked in like these two boards. This felt really locked in, and this felt almost like semi locked in, and there's just a massive difference. So this is not like your old traditional camber board, not like the old Arbors back in the day. Very easy to skid turns with, very easy to get off your game and recover, where a lot of these two boards might send you catching an edge and slamming down. So this is a much better intermediate board. I wish it had extra float though, but still now with the setback on board and on side cut, and you know, the tapered feel, and the nose, the tail isn't like super big anymore, or at least it feels that way to me now. You might be able to get back and have a little more fun on powder. But the edge hold is great. The system camber, I don't know if you can see these little bumps here along, but check the On the Table review down below, and that might help you see it a little better. But man, great, like, great grip. Not too much, not to where it's grabby in soft snow, but good enough to handle some hard snow, some snow mint, kind of what a lot of people see, even in the best of places, you know, resorts with the best conditions. It has that, that kind of grip. They can, let me rephrase that. The board, even the resorts with the best of conditions year-round often have hard days, and this is ready for it. It might not be like an East Coast specialist, an ice specialist, but it's pretty good. Turn initiation, I felt like this was super quick edge to edge. This felt kind of medium fast. These two felt similar, but I think this was the fastest. It just, with these Union Atlas and Adidas Tactical ADVs, which are pretty responsive combo, it just really just got me whenever I wanted to, I was there. And it's great if you're in tight spots, doing a tree line, it's gonna turn really well. Now, the overall turning experience of this board is super fun. You know, sometimes this uprise fender, sometimes it feels weird because there's camber past the lifted part, and sometimes it doesn't. The last couple days I barely even noticed it, but you know, like all these different technologies, sometimes when you first start riding them, you're like, whoa, that feels weird. Okay, that's off. And then your body just starts adjusting to it, and you just start changing your riding style a little bit, and all of a sudden you don't feel it anymore. And that might be what's happening to me. And I found that this just railed a turn nicely. It's very springy, easy in and out of the turns. It feels a little like a touch on the heavy side, but it's very damp and handled uneven snow really well. I could power through bumps or power over them, and it did a great job there. Carving, it just lays out a really hard carve. It's a little, you know, the turning experience is a little back foot weighted, but I had no problem still riding switch. You know, I could butter pretty well. And I could kind of center it up a little bit and drive a little bit off that front foot without it getting too washy. So I thought it had more of a double ender feel for the amount of taper it had. So that was kind of cool, but it can get surfy and kind of set back. And then uneven terrain, you know, switch was good. Powder, I haven't had powder yet, I'm not sure, but you know, based on like the way this rises up in the nose, it's gonna be good, but just maybe not like boards with a little rocker in the nose. And then, you know, for park, I'd love to ride this in the pipe, love to hit some kickers with it. Little tentative on jibs with this because it is a little good, but overall it was a very fun ride and very doable. And I think it could work for a wide variety of riders who are mostly on the directional side, that want something that just is like camber, but way more forgiving. So, you know, for me, I think it was a very fun board. And I had a good time on it, especially the quick turn initiation was really fun, and just turning this board is great. Not sure if I'd want it compared to some of these boards, some of our favorites on a powder day, but other than that, I can't really complain about it. I had a great time.